Location, location, location. That's what they say about investing in real estate. But what location and why? Let's talk about where to invest in your first multifamily deal. The reason they say you got to pick a great location is because you could always find another building. You could always find another tenant, but you can never move the building. You can't find a different location. You have to pick that up front because you're kind of stuck with it until you sell the property. So here are the 4 main metrics I want you to consider as you're investing in a multifamily deal. The first is where you live now. Obviously, this is going to be number 1. This is somewhere you could drive around today and look at different properties. You're clearly going to know this area well. You can look at the individual streets. You can get to know the different people living in the different areas. You'll have really a sense of how that area feels. You're not just looking at a map on the internet. You're not just looking at a website with an article talking about that market. You're living and breathing it right now. It'll be easiest for you to source property management. It'll be easiest for you to find tenants. It'll be easiest for you to screen tenants. You could drive by their current address and see how they're living now. So clearly, where you live now is where you should start. But for a lot of us, when we live in expensive places like California or New York, where investing doesn't always make sense, you start looking out of state. And so it brings you to the other 3 metrics. Metric number 2 is where you're from originally, where you grew up. This can be a great market for many reasons for you. One is you'll know where it was before, how the city was, how the market was when you grew up there. And you'll be able to compare it to how it looks now, and you'll be able to see, has it improved? Has it gotten worse? You'll have that sense and you'll get to feel how the progress has been. Also, you all know how you have these fond memories growing up, knowing how the different streets were. I used to have lunch over there. I used to have dinner over there. Oh, my buddies and I used to hang out right there. So you have a real good sense of what the city is and what the market is. Really what you have is perspective. Now, the third metric is investing in a market where you want to retire. This is somewhere that obviously you're going to want to spend a lot of time going there because you enjoy it. It's also somewhere you're going to have passion about. You're going to want this market to be great. So you're going to really be seeking out the best areas in that town. And every time you go to visit your property, you're going to have a great time. Plus, you're investing in properties where eventually when you move there to retire, you can check on your properties. They'll be just down the street. And the 4th metric I think is extremely important, and it's somewhere where you have boots on the ground. Boots on the ground means someone in that market that can keep their eye on your properties for you, someone that can give you insider information about what that market is, someone who grew up there, someone who lives there now, someone that can really be your expert in that market while you invest from afar. My company, Amity Cashflow, we specialize in this and help investors often invest out of market. Investors from California invest in properties with us in Texas because we have a whole team there. We have experts who live there, property management. We know the construction teams there. We know the maintenance people there. We know the lenders in the market. So we can be those boots on the ground for investors. Let me tell you a couple quick stories. I was looking at a property in Dallas a long time ago. It was a 5-unit, and on the pictures, it looked great, but I thought I saw something a little off, but I couldn't quite tell. So I called my buddy in Dallas, and I told him about the property, gave him the address, and I kid you not, in like 12 minutes, I had a phone call back and a text message with 12 different photos of the property. The phone call, he was telling me, look, this property is actually sitting at an angle. It has foundation issues. They clearly tried to skew it in their photos for you. So I saved myself a trip to Dallas. I saved myself the due diligence just by having boots on the ground that I could call. Another property I had under contract in Cincinnati, my lender knew a friend that went to college together who lived on the same street when he was growing up, and still knew a woman who lived on the street who kind of acted as like the mayor of that street. So within one phone call, I had an extreme amount of intel on the property I was looking at, on the people who live on the street, on the good and the bad and the ugly of that street. And there was quite a lot of it. So without that phone call, I would have just been looking at a listing and going out there myself and trying to get my own opinion rather than having this entire detailed history on that street and on this property. That's boots on the ground. The goal with these 4 metrics really is to go above and beyond the information you can find on the internet. You want to get detailed, personal interactions with this property, whether it's you or someone that you know. Now, as a bonus, here's the main metrics I look at when we're looking at a specific market. Once we've dialed in what market to go invest in, here's some metrics for you to look at. Number 1 is the population growth. Is the market going up? Are more people moving there? Or is it going down? Are people moving out of the city? Number 2 is job growth and job diversity. Is there multiple different employers and are people gaining employment there? Or is unemployment rising and is there just a few key employers? So if they shut their doors, do you lose a lot of the work there? Because as we all know, employment factors in huge when you're trying to get a strong tenant base in your building. And the last one is you want to be buying in the path of progress. Where is the city allocating money to developing the town? Where are people who are moving there investing their own money, whether they're buying homes and making them nicer? Typically, if you look on a map and you talk to any broker who knows the area well, they could point out how this part of town is growing and this part of town might not. It can be easy to highlight it on a map with a marker if you wanted to. Credit to my good buddy Rod Cleef for coming up with this succinct and powerful list of metrics when you're looking for what market to invest in. I help busy professionals like you invest passively in real estate and not have to deal with the hassles of being a landlord. If that's something you're interested, you can go to my website, amitycashflow.com. My name is Chris Collins. Talk to you more tomorrow.